Suns fans, you know what time it is in the PHX.
Empire of the Suns.
Phoenix Suns.
Empire of the Suns.
Hello there, and welcome to the Empire of the Suns podcast. My name is Kellen Olson, joined as always by Kevin Zimmerman. What's up, man?
How's your Thanksgiving? Good?
Good. Yeah.
Good basketball watching, good food eating.
Good. I wish I'm getting to that point in the season now where it's like 20 games in, and like that first wave of like 10 games where I'm purposely like making time to watch the league, and now I'm starting to fade out of it a little bit, and I got to get back in. Like last night I should have been watching Thunder Warriors. I just wanted like a little detox time away from everything, play a little video game, listen to a podcast before bed, that kind of thing. But I'm trying to get back into it. How about you?
Mine was good. I'm in a different place than you. I can only watch the Suns heavily, and then I can pick my spots. But
children.
Yeah, the children really mess up you cannot watch every basketball game every night on national TV, which, that's life.
Just put them in front of you while the game's on. That's what they used to do back in my day. Come on, what are you talking about?
They watch too much Ninja Turtles.
It's a good time for the children to only be able to watch the Phoenix Suns because the Phoenix Suns are 13-9.
True.
They're a very good basketball team. And I think we're coming off of, so this is the first 3-day break of the entire season so far for the Suns. They beat the Lakers on Monday. We're podcasting on Wednesday. And then they play Houston on Friday, Minnesota on Monday, Oklahoma City in the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup.
Wow.
On Wednesday. So a challenging stretch as we've outlined before. But looking at these previous games since we last podcasted, more of what we've come to expect. I think the OKC game was one of their best performances of the year, even in a loss. I've never shied away from doing not the moral victory thing, but giving teams credit even when they lose. Denver, it looked like a very tired team, which made the Lakers game all that more impressive because they came out with a ton of energy, 7 games in 11 days. And some point, once Booker got hurt, which we'll talk about in a minute, Book right groin strain, going to be at least a week. We'll talk about the timeline in a bit. It was some point in the second quarter where the Lakers, it was clear to them, they know this better than me. Hey, you guys are going to have to try really hard to win this game. It does not matter who is on the floor, who isn't on the floor. And something I brought up on Arizona Sports at Night is, and we talked about a lot on this podcast when we first started it, is there was like the swat the fly moment where the Suns would be in a game somehow when they were a 20-win team, and then a good team would just try for 5 minutes, and then the game would be over. And it looked like that's what the Lakers thought they were going to be able to do in this game, even when they got down by 20 plus. And it's like, no, like that's just not how this works with this team. It just doesn't work that way. And I wonder how many wins the Suns are going to be able to get, because the inverse of this we were expecting is March, April, don't have your draft pick. A lot of teams aren't trying to win. The Suns are going to try to win. They're going to stack up some wins there. They're actually stacking up wins at this point even because some teams just, again, don't want to go full balls to the wall in the way that these Suns want to on the 7th game in 11 days, where the Lakers are like, we just had 3 and 4. We just played it back-to-back, because the broadcast and even like the national shows the next day were like, well, they had a back-to-back. They're an older team. And it's like, again, like they had 2 games in, I think, 10 days that were both against Utah right before this. They had an extended break. LeBron did not play the night before. And he was just doing what we've seen from LeBron and what we've seen from Luka and what we've even seen from Reeves now. And we've certainly seen from DeAndre, which is just like jogging back in transition, taking a second to complain about a foul call when he got to get back. And the Suns just burned him.
The crazy part to me in that game was that the Booker injury just didn't matter. I know we were talking in our chats.
-1. He was -1 in the game. Yeah.
We were talking in our chats in the moment, hey, I was watching Peacock. Has Peacock realized he's not there?
They did not.
They did not, but also
shout out Robbie Hummel, good at his job. Yeah. I hold a grudge because he broadcasted a Purdue Arizona game one time, and how is bias not a factor nonetheless. He's very
also
good at
new
his job.
to this job. He's new,
and this is a new setup, but it was the whole pitch is they're on the bench.
Yeah.
And the guy on the bench did not see the guy who was not on the bench.
Yeah.
it was just kind of a funny twist there.
Book had to have walked right past him to the locker room.
A lot going on with that, but it's been a great broadcast. So sorry to cut you off.
No, but the point there is the on-court product did not change at all. You didn't notice Booker was gone if you weren't looking at the bench, right? I don't know how you noticed it. You noticed it pretty early. I don't see him out there. So that was the impressive part to me. And the Dylan Brooks carrying them, yes, we could talk about that all day, how he's added. We've already done that a little bit, how he's changed the culture. Helped kind of mitigate any Booker loss. Obviously, Colin Gillespie going bonkers mattered. And it was just funny because we have to mention the optics of the DeAndre Ayton, the Luka, the Braun. Like, I think I've said it prior to the season started, like, JJ Redick's going to have very upset evenings after games like that where they're getting beat in transition and not running back. And he indeed had that in his post game. So I thought that was really intriguing, but also just again, Luka was hitting all of the toughest shots. He was bodying Colin Gillespie.
They weren't doubling him in the post when he was guarded by someone 6'2", and he was very confused.
Yeah, and then they all did the too small, and he was prancing around when he hit threes with good coverage on him. So it just felt like, like this is the moment where the Lakers should take over. Even like I felt the momentum going that way, but the Suns just never let them do it. So that to me is the most interesting part, is just how it felt in the moment
and how much you're able to have the freedom to make that your identity. And what I mean by that is, like, the Suns don't have any choice. Like, they have to play this hard to be this good. And the cold ice bucket water can be dumped on me because I'm bringing up last year. I'm breaking my own rule here. But last year, I just remember, because I think it's really relevant right now, I remember a podcast in like December where you and I were talking, and I was like, I don't think they realize they have to try hard now. Like, you're not that good of a team. You're not good. You guys need to try hard to win games, or else you're going to miss the playoffs. And then they just refused to give that effort. It was abhorrent in February, and everything went on from there. But I look at the Lakers as a really good example, and to bring up someone who we've talked about on the podcast, if you're listening to every episode and you go back to like all of our draft stuff, like looking at the first round, Adu Thero is a guy we talked about out of Arkansas who plays his ass off. He's up and down the floor all the time whenever he's out there, and the Lakers didn't get him in the rotation in this game. It seemed like this is not to do like the coaching thing and like I'd be better at JJ Redick's job, but it seemed like an obvious kind of like just bring him in for a couple of minutes, see if he can spark something. But
message sent at the very least.
He tried that with Maxi Kleber instead, who can't really move that well right now, and looks like the guy who moves like a guy who has had the amount of surgeries that he has had over his career. And again, that's like where the Lakers are at. Like, they've got a veteran that they want to turn to in that moment instead of turning to the young rookie who started off hurt in training camp and like wouldn't really know what he was doing out there per se. And that's like the choice that the Suns have that they can make right now. And not to say that it's not to turn that into a thing where like the Lakers would be just as you know what I'm saying here. The fact that you can like look through so much of this game as like not a barometer, but just the absolute bar for what like the best is of what they're doing. 28-2 in fast break points, 16-1 in steals, and then it was points off turnovers, 32-13. Because they can just, again, if a team just wants to check out against them, this is what they can do against them to that degree, to the point where you've got three different players who had at least five assists and 2 steals: Colin Gillespie, Jordan Goodwin, Jamari Bouye. Those are all guys that are 6'2" or shorter. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
That part I wanted to touch on exactly. You segued me right in. They're down now 3 2 guards when Grayson Allen, Jalen Green, and Booker out. And so what do? But they actually go smaller, and they get point guards who can score, yes, shoot, yes, but also the most important thing is all 3 of those guys, obviously Bouye in a really small sample size, have shown like they know that they're going to generate mismatched touches where teams are just like, oh, you're guarding him, I'm throwing it to you. The Lakers got switches wherever they want to get like Gillespie on Luka's back, all that stuff. And what happens and has happened, it seemed like, is that breaks the opponent's offense, but then those point guards actually hold up fairly well, or like relatively well, or rip the guys, and then you're in transition. That happened over and over and over again that game. That's why Luka had 9 turnovers. And that's just, it feels like luck almost that you're building this roster with back end, even borderline NBA players like Bouye, and getting success out of them. So that to me tells me when this keeps happening again and again and again, you're doing a good job at finding what these guys can be good at.
You want to get overeager but we're 20 games in, so we won't get overeager. But it's like, if this continues for 2 to 3 years, then you're like, oh, the Suns have this like ecosystem where they can just bring in guys like Jamari Bouye, who have been on 5 teams in 3 years with a clear NBA skill set that's somewhere in there, and can find a useful like 2 to 3 weeks for him. Because
hey, here are your 2 jobs. You're like 5 days in or whatever he was, like, from joining the team at all. Yeah.
Dillon Brooks took 26 shots in this game. Colin Gillespie took 19. Again, like, you think about like what this team was going to be and the injuries that they've overcome to do that. Dillon's been out of this world. I think that he should absolutely be under consideration for most improved this year. It's exactly what the award was designed to do. I am up there with everyone who complains about a 3rd or 4th year young player getting this award. It's like, yeah, that's what young players do. It's designed for guys like Dillon. It's designed for guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's averaging 9 points a game over his career and is up to 20 this year. But Dillon's been phenomenal. He has, I think, over a 10-game stretch, when you look at total points, it's 30 more than any other time in his career prior to coming to Phoenix. So he's never scored like this before. He's shooting 61% from 2 on 2s in his last 10 games as well. There's going to be some drop off from the mid range. Like, he's not going to shoot above 50% from mid range. It's just how, not severe, but how much of a downtick is it going to be when it comes? Because it is going to come. Like, I rarely do this kind of thing where I guarantee something is going to happen, because it's basketball and anything can happen. But I just don't expect him to be this level of mid-range shooter all year. And even if he's not, that's okay, because what we talked about and what I asked Book about on opening night is, like, you want these kind of guys, right? You want the guys who, when you get hurt, he tells NBC postgame his first thought was, time to get more shots up. And when we can laugh, which we should laugh, because it's a funny thing to say.
He's not joking, though.
But other guys in that situation would be passing the ball around, passing up shots, not looking for their shots, not seeing a one-on-one on the second side. And instead, like, no, let's throw it back to Book. And like, no, like, he's going. There was a moment, I can't remember how many times I've seen it. And if I've ever seen it, I should say, but I don't want to say like I've never seen it before. I can't remember ever seeing Devin call for the ball and Dillon just someone else go to work when he's calling for it. And Brooks did that in a game in Phoenix against Denver, I want to say. So he's been completely phenomenal, outside of the fact that one of the main culture drivers, if not like the main culture driver here, obviously, with everything that he is doing. And he's just, again, he's been so sensational. There's a really easy clickbait, like, if you want our YouTube video to be, would you rather have Dillon Brooks or Kevin Durant right now? Like, I don't care at all about having that conversation right now. I don't care.
That's ignoring context.
What I care about is the present instead, and that Dillon has been one of the best guards in the Western Conference this year. Like, if the West wasn't the West, I would be like, is Dillon Brooks an all-star? But then you see the list of like all-star nominees right now, and it's like, Lauri Markkanen might not make it, and he's averaging like 27 again, like having a completely out of this world year. Like, Jalen Johnson somehow isn't like a lock for ESPN at a list, and Jalen Johnson wasn't a lock. And then I looked at the locks and I was like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be an all-star, but he's the type of guy where, for most improved at the very least, he needs to be up there. He's been phenomenal.
That is like the Goran Dragic 6-man award, where it's like, you're well into your career. We thought we knew who you were, and then suddenly you are taking that next step. So I agree on that.
Gillespie has been fantastic as well. If you look at his last 9 games, he's now averaging 19 points per game, because I think at the start of the year, there was some like 6-man of the year buzz for him from fans locally. And it was like, okay, well,
10
like
points a game.
He's averaging like 10 to 12 a game. Like, the numbers have to come up eventually for that to like be a case. I see the impact that he's having, don't get me wrong. And here it is, like 19 a game. He's shooting 50% from 3, 8 threes a game in his last 9, and that is only going to, I don't want to say only go up, but it's going to stay at this kind of level while Book misses time. Book is going to be out for a week. This is the 7th time in the last 9 years that he's had either a groin or a hamstring injury pop up in December or January. It's just the time of the year where the clock on his body just runs down a bit for whatever reason. It's beyond medical explanation at this point. It's just, we have to come to expect it. It's here. It's going to be a week. What we hope, and what I feel confident now in saying, that I wouldn't have felt as confident in saying 2 to 3 years ago, is the Suns know what's going on here, especially when they had a significant player re-aggravate an injury twice now already to start the year, is that Book will not play unless he has no risk of re-aggravation. Like, he cannot play if there's any risk at all of him re-aggravating. And they play OKC a week from today, and the cup, whatever like getting the money for his teammates, that kind of motivation aside, the more important motivation would be this is the team that's been busting my ass tremendously the last 2 years. Like I've never seen a opponent or even like an individual guy on the team, whatever, but like a team dominate him the way that they have defensively over the last 2 years. And it's back in OKC where they lost earlier this year in a really close one. So he's going to want to really be back for that one. But he should not play in that game. Like, I don't even... it goes beyond, like, what the medical people would say. Like, no risk of re-aggravation. I'd be like, I don't care. He's not playing. And then we're sitting him out for the next game, too. So that way he can actually get 2 days off and only miss 4 games. Because that's the other benefit here. He could potentially only miss 4 games. Or 3 or 2. But if he sits for Houston, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, there will be 1 additional added game. Unless they make the finals of the Cup. So then they would essentially be playing 4 games in 16 days is what they would be doing. So that's 2.5 weeks. Put him on ice. Let's take our extra time with this. Let's be okay, because if he re-aggravates and he misses a month, your season is not screwed, but it's just it's ruining a lot of like what has been a beautiful progress to start the year.
And also the Jalen Green timeline is a little bit after that, correct? Mid-December?
December 9th is like the 4-week period of the 4 to 6 week period. So I would be shocked if he plays before Christmas. I'd be shocked.
Okay.
Again, like re-aggravates it again, and then he's out for the year. Like,
and that's where it's like you just hope you get to mid-December. Whether either of those guys getting back would be great, but they are in a spot where you would hope. I mean, you hope both of them, but I'm just saying, like, you have an option of another guy coming back too. So if Book's doing worse and Jalen Green's like all clear, all good, like yes, or the other way around.
Mitch and I talked about this, and something that he pointed out as a lover of the film Moneyball that I am, like you can make up Devin Booker in the aggregate with how guys are playing. Like Dylan is playing out of his mind, Colin is playing out of his mind, tossing some Jamari Bouye here and there, tossing Jordan Goodwin with how effective he's playing. In theory, you can find a way to like make up for some of what he does statistically. The problem is that the statistic that doesn't exist is how many shots do I create for my teammates a night? And it's at least 20 plus, and it's probably more. I'm not saying like potential assists. I'm saying possessions where his gravity gets someone open. It's at least 20 plus a night. And who else is going to do that on this team? It's going to be Grayson Allen really trying to do it. He did come back, by the way. Came back for a game, and then he got sick with whatever's going around right now. So I would assume with a 3-day break that he's back by Friday, but he should be back very soon.
Yeah, and he's important to that too, because his ball handling was what, a top career numbers of doing that stuff. He
like 5 assists per game, that kind of thing. And that's where the key differentiator that I keep mentioning is not in a way to lessen the impact that he has had this year, but Dylan is averaging 1.8 assists per game this year. He's just not a ball mover in that kind of way. And he's not a guy who is going to drive with the intention of like a drive and kick. Like maybe there's a dump off pass from him if it's right there in front of him, but like to go swing, like that's not really happening.
Yeah.
With some of the drives or the scoring opportunities that he's going for. That's where it goes to Grayson. That's where it goes to Colin. And maybe
Royce O'Neal had 11 assists or whatever the other night.
And that's the thing is like I can sit here and say they'll be screwed, but like Royce O'Neal in that game was running pick and roll in the third quarter, and like he was getting to the basket. And again, how much of that was the Lakers?
It is the Lakers, yeah.
It's one of those things that's difficult to have the day after the conversation, but we'll be keeping an eye on it. That'll definitely be the top topic that we have when we come back and talk about it. Let's look around the league.
Some things are happening.
There are things happening. Let's do our annual standings check, because I think that it is the two things we'll continue to look at are, one, just how horrible the bottom of the conference is, which will come up with something else we're going to talk about. And then also just the number, which is how far ahead are the Suns of the play-in line. They're still 5 games ahead of Utah. Now, Utah is starting to win more basketball games. Dallas has won 2 straight. Memphis lost last night, but they had won, I believe, it was 4 of 5 or 5 of 6. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, it was against Sacramento, oh, it was against the Clippers. Like they're just doing that kind of thing. But you do want to give them credit. Utah won 2 of their last 3. So it's like very minor, just like Dallas, where they've won 2 in a row. But if you look at the records right now, Suns are 13-9. Warriors are down to 11-11. Oh boy. Memphis is 9-13. Portland has hit a wall. They're 8-13. Like they clearly need to get healthy. They've had some like Shade and Sharp injuries. And like once Scoot got hurt, it's like you guys can't afford to be missing like Drew for some time. You can't afford to be missing Klingon for some time as well right now. So they have played 21 games this year. Sharp has played in 17. Drew has only played in 12. Drew's been out for quite a while. right now. And of course, they still haven't gotten Scoop back this year at all. I love that ESPN.com is automatically highlighting Young Hansen for me. It's like, yes, correct. That's who I want to look at on my
Knows
screen.
all of your data, yeah.
Jazz 7-13. Okay. Mavericks 7-15. The Kings are a disaster. They're 5-16. Like if Christie wasn't like brought in as the coach in the way that he was, he would have been fired already by now. Clippers 5-16. Speaking of people that could get fired soon. And then New Orleans 3-19. They have lost 4 straight. They're an absolute mess. Is there anyone that you've seen recently, whether it's been like Memphis or you think like Portland will start to get healthy, or what Dallas is doing with Cooper and Anthony Davis? Welcome to the NBA season in December. 30-15. Hello. It took a month and a half, but good to see you.
I tend to believe in Utah a little bit, just because I think Laurie's legit, has been. But also the Keontae George rise has been fun. Just to be positive about someone for once.
Dude, he's been great.
He kind of reminds me of the book, just like
23-7, shooting 45 from the field. Keontae,
yeah,
have a year, kid.
Like he's not at the book level yet, but I'm just saying like
it's book light. It's bookish.
It's book light because it's on a team that just has not been good the whole time. Yeah, I think.
And whenever they come up in like a mundane like national conversation, like Keontae George having a good year though, and remember like in year 2 Devin Booker, they'd be like, Devin Booker, I like Devin Booker,
and but that was it.
It was the I like Devin Booker, and it's like I like Keontae George.
Yeah, but in Utah, it's probably like he might be an all-star someday. Like that's their optimism.
Exactly. Here's the stat that I have for you. Mm-hmm. Ace Bailey minutes. His top 11 games in minutes, they're 2-9.
Okay.
And the other 9, they're 6 and they're 5.
So they know the key to how to control their destiny, whether they want to be good or not. Yes. Okay.
I will say they've won 2 of 3 with him in the starting lineup, but in one of those starts, he only played 16 or 17 minutes. I'm not saying he's a tank driver, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you play a rookie with his skill set and what he has to get better at in the league that much, like it's going to negatively affect your basketball team. I'm with you on Utah. I think Dallas is just like a kid's such a good coach. Cooper's so immensely talented that their supporting cast is not bad.
Yeah,
it's like they are twice as talented as the Suns on paper.
It's just Cooper, like even at his Duke season, he was not off the bat doing I'm just taking over the game now. Like I think he's very aware and not pushing himself. But as this season goes, I think we'll see more of he can be the number 1 in spurts here and there. Like I don't know if he's just not comfortable yet, I mean. But again, at Duke, you saw, I mean, we watched him against Arizona in game 1 early in the season, Arizona's last game of the season. Very different player when it matters. So
one more before we move to the players moving and stuff. Mm-hmm. OKC's 21-1. Here's their games for the rest of December: Dallas, Utah, Phoenix, Clippers, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, and then the Spurs on the second night of a back-to-back, Thursday, December 23rd in San Antonio. Spurs again on Christmas. Then the Sixers and the second night of a back-to-back in OKC against Atlanta on December 29th. Portland on December 31st. Do they lose this month?
I think they'll lose. Dude,
it'll be
honestly,
some weird like Minnesota game, right? Like Ant goes for like 56. He's playing out of his mind right now, by the way.
We didn't talk much about this game, but the Suns game, they did not look immortal.
No.
And that was a lot to do with the Suns playing really well. It was a really good game played by both teams, but I was like, okay. They might have shown other teams something on tape. I don't know. Anyway.
Chris Paul got cut. It was Chris Haynes who had the reporting, which like you can kind of.
I thought I was that was one. It's not Luka level getting traded, but it was like this looks like a joke post on X, and then I click and it's like, no, this is a real writer I know and a real website I know. And yeah.
So here's everything that Chris Haynes had, which for what it's worth, again, like you can see the information and be able to tell that it came from Chris's side. So like there's the Clippers side of this story. There's Chris's side of this story. I tend to like believe that it is what it is, which we'll get into in a second. But again, Haynes reporting. Weeks ago, Chris Paul requested to have a meeting with Ty Lue to discuss allegations of being a negative presence on the team. Weeks ago. Lue refused to meet with him. Lawrence Frank, who is the GM, whatever you want to call him, head of basketball operations for the Clippers, traveled to Atlanta to deliver the news of them parting ways. This happened in Atlanta at like 2 a.m. local time is when the news broke, so it was probably past midnight when he got cut. He posted it on Instagram, which was awesome. I loved it. I thought it was based.
Just gotta let go. Peace.
Clippers were stuck at Miami Airport for nearly 6 hours due to mechanical issues, which significantly delayed their ability to get to Atlanta in the first time. So he had to go through a really long travel day, and then he got cut on the plane, basically. Like Lane Kiffin, not even in an office, probably. He got cut on like the straight up plane. Like he got off the plane and Lawrence Frank was there, or Lawrence Frank called him into his office at the front of the plane, and then they cut him. Like, that's wild. It's crazy. I think something that I talk about all the time, and I'm sure Chris would 100% back this up if you asked him it and he was able to speak on it, would be Chris saw this team in October or even September and went up to Ty Lue and Lawrence Frank, being who he is, and is like, guys, do you see this? We're in trouble. Like, are we going to... You know what this is heading for. Like, we all of us have been around teams long enough to see what's going on here and know that something's going to have to change if we want to... I picked them to finish third in the West. Like, they were supposed to be a preeminent contender, and he saw 5 and 16 coming. He was like, are we going to do anything? I don't know anything, to be clear, but I just know this is what happened, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
And then they're like, Chris, it's fine, it's early, whatever. Like, they're just like shrugging him off. And then Ty Lue is just like, I'm not having a player talk to me like this. I'm just not doing it. Some coaches are like that. Others are like Monty, where it's like, yeah, that was Chris's idea. I don't care. We're winning basketball games. Like, Chris can do the Chris thing. And then Ty Lue just wasn't talking to him. And then Chris wasn't playing as much, which I don't know how much of that was due to his own ability. He did not look great on the floor when I've seen him. But how much of that was due to like this strife with Lue? The most baffling part of this entire conversation is that what this year was supposed to be for Chris. It was announced. That's interesting tidbit. Like him announcing it like 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Did he know he was going to get cut and like worked ahead, basically? Knowing that they were going to cut him eventually, and he was like, let me make this look even worse for them. This is my last year. You guys are going to make me like, them. Really? I love it. That's like the Isaiah Thomas thing that he did. Remember that? Like,
Matt and Isaiah decided.
Chris is the best. That's so, oh my gosh. That's incredible that he did that.
See, that's the thing that I feel like they didn't, there's not even a report of, it was over playing time. This is not about Chris. It's like, and that's where I'm like, Ty Lue has been generally very good about dealing with personalities, right? Like Kawhi is a personality in a very different way. Bradley Beal personality, James Harden personality in a different way. But
Chris is one of one, and he's burned bridges is an aggressive phrase that seems to indicate that like he was like this absolutely toxic problem. But he said it, gosh, I can't remember. I think it was in San Antonio. He got some assist record, or maybe it was his last game when he got to 82 or whatever, and they had like a celebration in the locker room for him. And he told everyone, he was like, look, I know I might like rub some of you guys the wrong way. I just want to win. That's it. Yeah. And it's like, is he an ass sometimes? Yeah. He just wants to win. And like, if you can if you can accept that is where Chris is coming from with what he's saying, or you just don't want to deal with him. And the Clippers clearly did not want to deal with him, all on when he was brought in on this retirement tour, on this, like, you're going to retire as a Clipper. We're going to put you in the Ring of Honor next year. Does that even happen now? Like, all of that kind of stuff. It's really my main takeaway. And again, this is coming from someone who covered Chris for 3 years. So it's probably coming from that side a little bit, as someone who like loves his game and was a fan of him before he got here in the first place. It's just embarrassing for the Clippers. Like, they look like a clown car show right now with this.
Oh yeah. And that's where Ty Lue is kind of the same way. Like, he is win at all costs in a good way, but he's probably stubborn too. They're probably both really stubborn people. That's what I've gathered from knowing enough about Ty Lue and how much he works at his craft as a coach. But I could also see if Chris did have that meeting, since we're talking theoreticals, like Ty Lue not taking that well, or Chris not taking well that no one wants to meet with him about concerns or whatever. And then, things are said.
So now it's going to come down to what Chris wants, which is
close to family, I assume?
I assume Chris wants to keep playing.
Yeah.
But does he want to keep playing in a way where, like, I need a guaranteed rotation role?
Yeah.
Or is he going to be okay with, you're probably not going to play most nights. If injuries come up, we'll call on you, but you'll basically be our extra coach. And that's the second part of this is it a team that is going to go into it, like I said, accepting of he's going to be a hard ass a lot, but he's going to be doing it because he wants us to win a championship. So we were looking at some rosters, like obviously everyone's talking about it rightfully so, like going back to OKC would be poetic. They have too many guys.
Yeah.
I looked at Cleveland. They have too many guys. Like, would the Spurs cut Lindy Waters and bring him back? They've been playing Lindy Waters a little bit at times. There are some Eastern Conference fits as well. I think like the Knicks with like Mike Brown is like a personality, I think make a lot of sense. Well, like, when you consider how Mike is, it's kind of similar to how Monty is. That one makes sense to me. Him and Mikal could be reunited. That would be a cool side story of it as well. I hope he lands on a team. I hope it's not Charlotte.
No.
Retiring at home, I get it, but like, oh my gosh, like they nailed the Con Knipple pick. They nailed the Kalkbrenner pick, and they're still trash. They still suck.
I think he'll play this out where it's going to be the perfect opportunity, and that could be 10-day contracts or something. I hope it doesn't go that long, but I hope it might take injuries because it's like the Lakers make sense just if you look at he's boys with Braun and JJ, right? Like, but like you would need a reason. You would need injuries. You would need something, roster spot opening.
I don't know why the Lakers didn't come to mind for me. Like, obviously that's the best fit in terms of like JJ knows how Chris is. And I mean, before the Suns game, apparently all the vibes were awesome. Like, I was reading that there was a DA feature that Dan Wojcicki did on The Athletic. Not so much a feature as like he talked to DA for 3 minutes and DA did the DA thing. And he was like, I need to turn this into a whole column. And he's correct because DeAndre is great. So the vibes were apparently great, but it looked like they didn't have a competitive edge in that Suns game, to say the least.
And
it looked like
it's one game too. Like, I think they are in a good spot, and that's why it was so impressive. But
they are the perfect team in terms of
could
JJ,
they absorb it?
Roster spot, like actual playing role. Like I could see it. Just having him out there, so like LeBron checks out 6 minutes in, 7 minutes in, whatever. When Luka's out and LeBron's in, having Chris out there with LeBron for those like 10 minutes a game. Yeah, I could see it.
But does he piss off Luka? Do you want your third guard?
Yeah, that's the whole
getting on Luka, but also maybe
thing.
he pushes Luka. Like, I don't know.
All right, before we go, speaking of strategically leaked things to the media, Giannis Antetokounmpo and his agent Alex Saratzis, apologies, Alex. Alex definitely listening. Have started conversations with the Milwaukee Bucks about the two-time NBA's MVP future and discussing whether his best fit is staying or elsewhere. Sources tell ESPN this from Shams Charania. A resolution is expected in the coming weeks. This is very the great drill bit tweet of like, don't put it in the newspaper that I got mad. This gives like, don't put it in the newspaper that I asked for a trade. I'm having a discussion. I am not asking for a trade, but I am having a discussion about my future. I am not asking for a trade. Where are you?
There are a lot of layers to this,
Are we coming from what scares you the most for the Suns perspective, or just basketball fans, what would be the most fun for places for him to go?
I'm a little scared.
By the way, is Doc getting fired tomorrow or Friday? Have they decided yet?
Quick things on this. Very funny Miles Turner left the Pacers for this.
Oh, God.
Very funny. Very funny. The Bucks wasted a bunch of roster spots to roster his brothers. That's funny.
That's tough.
And
that's the Zoran.
To get to your
Zoran?
Zoran.
Why do you want to go to Miami? Zoran's here.
To answer your question, though, I had a little fear hit me because I instinctively went to a trade machine. And threw it in. By the way, trade machines.
To see if you could cook a Suns one?
Suns ones are really easy. I was like, shocked because it's easy to cook trades when you're not in the second apron. And I was just like, oh, that was so easy. Here are like 3 different options. They all look bad, though, they look bad for the Bucks because the Bucks need draft picks. Even if you throw Malawach and Dunn in there, Grayson out, like you can't. Yeah. Anyway.
Detroit, Philly, Detroit, Boston, the next 4 games for Milwaukee. Yeah, Doc will not have his job by Christmas. That's tough.
No. Are you afraid of Suns' involvement?
I just didn't know what like phrase. Like, I saw a lot of Suns fans being like, just don't come to the West, man. Like, my goodness, it's already. And so as a fan, I kind of want him to stay in the East just so it balances things out. But also, like, him joining Houston or San Antonio and then them going after OKC in the Western Conference Finals sounds incredible. And then there's Denver too. something that you and I talked about a whole lot, and this is where we can actually like loop in relevant Sun stuff here almost an hour into the pod, is I had the theory, and I totally believe this, that San Antonio and Houston were both approaching negotiations for Kevin as we want to make sure we have assets in case Giannis asks out. And we can actually be in the conversation, because what happened, Shams reported, and then Wendy was on this stuff a long time ago. Shout out to Wendy, who like, he's
the meme for a reason.
Earlier in the day said like he asked to be traded, just said it on a Cleveland radio show.
Oh, really?
Like just the whole like them like deciding how they want to release stuff, and it, like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Wendy's the go. Shout out to Wendy. We thought, and I think that this is 100% what was happening, is San Antonio was like, sure, but you're not getting Sohan, you're not getting Keldon Johnson, you're not getting Devin Vassell, as in we need those contracts.
Money.
Because we want to try and make it to where we can get Giannis without even having to include De'Aaron Fox in the deal. Or if this is the perfect way to get rid of De'Aaron Fox, I'm not really sure. And then Houston, obviously, they can just do one of Thompson and Şengün and just go
picks,
for it
right?
this year. They have picks as well. The wild card in this, shout out Joe Dumars, is Atlanta, because they already have, from a player perspective, they should 1,000,000%, and it depends on how stupid Milwaukee is, they should 1,000,000% try to trade Trey instead of Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
And that's not saying Jalen Johnson's a better player than Trey right now, but just with everything that they have going and what their team is, can you imagine that Jalen Johnson, I guess Reese Shea would be in the deal, but like the athleticism and length with Daniels, and again, who's in the deal? But what helps is they could theoretically do Trey, Reese Shea, and then here's the New Orleans pick, which is going to be the number one chance. You're going to have a guaranteed shot at getting either Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer, AJ DeBonsa, or I think Nate Amen, Wilson out of North Carolina, Cole Pete, I don't know. There's a couple of names in there. Atlanta is really interesting. Cleveland has had this question for a few years now, where do you trade one of Mitchell or Garland? They could do that here. They could trade one of Mobley or Allen. They could trade two of those guys in that deal as well. Point being, these are different conversations than Kevin, and these are different conversations than almost any that have come up in the last 5 to 10 years, because Giannis is still he has been one of the 5 best players in the league for a half decade straight, if not longer at this point. And where he goes will shift the entire league. Like, Kevin's impact and where he has shifted is clear. The Rockets are now a contender, but this is a little different. People are going to, if he goes to the Spurs, people are going to say like San Antonio's the favorite in the West, and I don't know if they'd be wrong. Yeah. That's how good he is. Yeah. I don't need to tell Suns fans this. They saw it firsthand, but I'm looking at the list. Since 2017, second team All-NBA, second team All-Defense. Next year, second team All-NBA, then first team All-NBA in 22-23. Got Defensive Player of the Year votes, but then didn't make All-Defense. Don't know what happened there. First team All-NBA, kept getting Defensive Player of the Year votes without making All-Defense, but he's just like one of the best players of all time already. And he's like 30 points a game. Turning 31 in 3 days. Yeah. Insane. Do you think this draws out till February? What was the language in today? Was the discussions will take a couple weeks. The discussions that they're going to have just to talk it out are going to take a couple weeks. Let's play everyone's favorite game. December 15th is for agent speak. December 15th is in a couple weeks. A resolution is expected in the coming weeks. And even then, in Shams' story, he was saying like, Giannis wanted to see how the first 25 games were going. So he was already like halfway out the door as it is. Why didn't they trade this guy last offseason? What are they doing? It's weird because the New York interest has been reported before, right? Like, at least I knew that from somewhere. So I assume the Bucks knew that. It was, in Shams' story, it was that the Knicks were the one team that he was okay with going to and that they would negotiate with, and they talked for a week in August, apparently. Yeah. And that was it. But now Shams is reporting it's expected to be more teams involved now. And this is the classic, back to the Kevin thing. What if Giannis just decides he wants to be a Laker? And we can roll our eyes and say, what would the Lakers even throw in? Well, they'd figure it out. They'd ask the Suns to help them. They didn't need to figure it out with Luka. That was the whole point. So. Anyway, so to put a bow on the Suns podcast. Yeah. No Chris Paul on the Suns, no Giannis on the Suns. Just to be clear, since I guess I mentioned the Giannis part. I don't think either of those guys are on the Suns. I don't even think the Suns could come up with a current offer that would be in like the top 3 of the offers.
No. You just named like 4 or 5.
Yeah. And it's going to be like, again, the 4 first-round picks, unprotected, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be all of that and like Trae Young and Reese Shea. Like it's going to be, it's Giannis.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. It was like the NBA was just kind of normal in like the great NBA way.
It was normal, and it's been really good. The ratings have been good for good reason. The basketball's been good.
The basketball's been excellent, and now it's like now we get the usual tomfoolery. The tomfoolery has arrived. The tomfoolery has always kind of been here. It was here for the first couple of weeks and months, but now it's like officially arrived. It's that time of year. It's
the
spicy
NBA
season.
Cup is not tomfoolery. What are you
sloppy season? It's here. Slop Fest is here. All right, we'll be back next week. Couple of fun games. Of course, Book gets hurt as Kevin's going to play on Friday. Oh, sorry. We were supposed to talk about that. Kevin Durant's first game against the Suns. Oh, no. Oh, gosh darn it. Minnesota and then OKC. Talk after OKC, before OKC. One of those two. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.